And then come into your Ujjayi breath, keeping it pretty subtle because right now we're not in an effortful position. So the Ujjayi breath, the more subtle, the more it's going to ask your mind to pay attention to the sound, the sattvic sound of the breath. And with the Ujjayi sound, when it's very subtle, you're going to now catch a glimpse of how oriented your attention is or how distractible you are. Don't make the breath more forceful to bring the mind more into the moment. Raise the quality of concentration in your mind to the subtlety of the breath. But you don't have to make the sensation more dramatic for the Ujjayi sound. If you were beginners, I might talk about that differently, but since you're not beginners, this is my recommendation. And then please join your hands together at your heart. Come to Anjali Mudra. The center of the palms don't actually touch, so in the center of the palms, you can place your intention from your heart. And this morning we're going to chant Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Nira Lambaya Tejase. It means the indwelling teacher is comprised of Satchidananda, truth, wisdom, and bliss. And as we practice, the practice helps to dispel darkness and bring peace. And this unconditional luminosity, Nira Lambaya Tejase. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Please open your eyes. So this thing we call in modern science and contemporary neuroscience, we call the gut-brain axis, is a very sensitive operating system that sends messages between the gut and the brain, up and down the gut-brain axis. The gut, being so sensitive, is sometimes called the second brain. I think of it as actually our first brain because the signals that go from the gut to the brain are going mostly to the north, south to north. I understand from some researchers, they say it's 95% of the messages are going south to north, which means 5% are going north to south. So this innervation superhighway of receiving and sensing the world, it's like one of our sixth senses. We have 5 senses we know about. Here's another sense organ. And what we feel in the gut, we are accustomed to in our culture, kind of blocking it, being unaware of it, not having communication with it so much, unless there's a problem in the gut, and unless that problem is significant enough to ask for our attention or to require our attention. Otherwise, we don't have much relationship to it in the world that we live in here in this Western culture. Not all of us, of course. Some people are more tuned in. But if you think about the way that we occupy our time and the way our buildings are built and the cement and the asphalt and the shoes that we wear and our connection then to the earth from all of that, like how we spend our time in technology, for example, or up in our heads, more in the cognitive or intellectual part of life. How much time do we spend like with the earth and sensing from the earth to the gut, from the gut to the brain? So when I am in my garden, for example, I think a lot of you already know, I'm relatively barefoot out there. I'm just wearing flip-flops to garden. That's really the only set of shoes that I own, is a few pairs of flip-flops. And my intention there is, well, my feet are comfortable for one thing, and regular shoes are not comfortable. But also my intention is to actually feel the ground that I'm walking on, to be a part of it. So we're going to start in this lower region of the body. Some of you might see these poses are also applicable to the first and second chakra. So Apana Vayu is a principle here that goes downward. And when that elimination principle is working well, so elimination, the obvious, plus the mental rubbish is also going downstream. When that's working well, we will tend to feel more connected to the earth, more grounded. It'll help to bring us down to connect into the gut. There's a vayu here called Samana Vayu, associated with the stomach, which is for digesting. It's the fire of digestion. And Samana Vayu is a vayu that contracts and heats. So we can heat the food here that we are digesting. We are burning the food to send it down to the intestines and the colon. And then Apana Vayu takes that further down. So the first part of class, you're going to see a focus here in the low pelvis, and then a focus in the hara, the Samana Vayu. So please shake your legs out if you need to, or come directly to Baddha Konasana. And when you sit for this Baddha Konasana, sit up tall. So you are sitting on your sitting bones equally. Reach down to hold the toes or the ankles. And when you inhale, raise up through your chest and heart like you're doing cow pose. You might notice any particular tightness that you have in the heart, in the neck, in the chest, the shoulders. And then curl yourself down into the spine that we use for cat pose. And roll the pubic bone up towards your belly button, your tailbone towards your heels. And then raise your torso up to what you think of as neutral, and please come forward over your feet. Let's bring the mind and the breath down into the pelvis. And start noticing on the inhalation, are you able to allow the breath, the inhale breath, to expand as it would without kind of any impediments? So the pelvic floor would receive your inhalation. So would the front belly, the side bellies, the back of the sacrum. Now press down against your feet and bring your torso upright. Simple seat. Hold the toes with your left hand. Take your right hand around behind you and please twist to your right. There's a cat right behind me. I didn't know you were there. I put my hand on the cat's head for twisting. So twist the lower belly to your right. Keep your mind down in your pelvis, in your sitting bones, in your tailbone. And notice how well your pelvis receives the inhalation, or if there seems to be any place of resistance or impediment. Now, as you're holding your ankles or your feet, if it feels more secure, hold the top of your right foot and then begin to side bend to your left. Press the right knee down towards the floor. You can use your right hand gently. And breathe into your right lower belly and see what kind of warm welcome you get from there. We do carry more tension in the abdomen than most of us are aware of. So without any sense of condemning yourself if you have abdominal tension, just be curious about why it's there. And keeping the right hip grounded, please inhale, raise your right arm overhead. So your side bend to the left is going to lean you now onto your left outer hip, left outer thigh, left outer shin. Lengthen the right knee away from your pose, away from the midline of the pose. And then exhale, use your right low belly to pull yourself back up to center. Bring your right hand around and please come forward. Let your attention and your breath come down into the pelvis, into your low abdomen. And inhale, rise up so your right hand goes over the toes this time. And twist to your left. Place your left hand on the floor behind you and not on the cat's head. Hi. As you're twisting left, rotate the inner belly to your left and keep your mind coming down to touch the sensations of the sitting bones, the tailbone. The pubic bone is not likely touching the blanket, so you can orient there, but try to feel the actual tactile experience of the sitting bones and the tailbone. And then cross your left hand over the top of your right hand over the top of your left foot. Begin to side bend to your right. Take the left hand to lengthen your left inner thigh. And then raise your left arm up past your left ear. The side bend is going to go to the right. Allow yourself to lean into the right hip, right thigh, right shin, and lengthen your left thigh from your hip to your knee. And then exhale, tone your left low belly and bring that back up to center. Okay, and hold on to the toes one more time. Reach up like a cow pose. And exhale, curl down like cat pose. Okay, and then come to upright and scoot your feet out about 3 or 4 inches. Sometimes we call this like a different variation on Baddha Konasana. Walk your hands forward, let the torso come forward. This time as you're coming down, take one of your blocks and place it on the right side so it's going to be there for you. And as you bow forward, to the extent possible, feel your sitting bones and your tailbone on the floor behind you. And again, let your mind go down and in. If you have a sense that we're slowing down the pace of the mind right now, that is partly what we're doing. You could imagine that we turned off the ceiling fan of the mind and it's slowly coming to stillness. Cross your left hand over the tops of your feet and take the right hand to the right. You can put the block on the tall setting over here and press down against it to twist to your right. Notice the right inner belly. And when the breath comes down, what kind of welcome are you having there? And then exhale, roll this back to center and place your right hand over your feet. Take the block for your left side, place it on the tall setting, and twist to your left. And then please rise up to your seat and fold your knees up so that you're going to place the feet flat on the floor so they'll be hip distance apart. Now, if you bring the knees a little bit closer in, it's going to cause you to have the sacrum be a little bit more rounded. Please don't sit on your cat's head, but bring the knees up, feet hip distance apart. Wrap your elbows around and hold your wrists, or hold the opposite elbow if your arms are long enough. And as you curl down and in, bring your attention into the pelvic basin. Notice what your breath does here in terms of where does it flow to, and what might you release in the low belly to welcome the breath. Now, if you'll take both blocks nearby and you're going to press on them, lift your hips up and come into Uttanasana. You can move the blocks to where you want them to be for your Uttanasana. So the hips and pelvis still have this flexion relationship right now, still in flexion. Breathe in and energize your legs from your hips down to your heels and your toes. Now walk your feet back so that your heels are going to go on your blanket and your toes are going to be on the floor, like you're tippy-toeing in Uttanasana. And now bring yourself back down to, now it's actually Malasana. So this is called a squatting pose. And wrap your elbows around your knees. You can hold the opposite wrist or you can hold the two elbows. Bow your head towards your inner body and see what happens with the welcome of the breath down into the pelvis. Now, as it's appropriate for you, for your feet, for your knees, for your hips and ankles, squeeze the knees together using your arms to do so. So it's a very compact pose. This is nourishing Samanavayu and Apanavayu. Now raise your arms forward, keep the knees close to the chest. And what we're going to do is take the left arm to the inside of the two knees if you have a hip replacement, as I do, or if your body supports it, you can take the left arm to the outside of the two knees. Now, since I have a hip replacement on only one side, I actually do the practice same. I don't just do what I can on the bionic side and then like go wild on the biological side. So choosing for yourself, put a little pressure between the knee and the upper arm, and please twist to your right. Place your right hand on your right thigh and rotate the belly to the right. Notice the left low belly, right low belly, and how your body receives the inhale. And then come back around to center, both arms forward, and you're going to choose again if the right arm goes inside the right knee or outside based on your body mechanics. Place your left hand on your left thigh and twist your lower belly to your left. We're asking the ceiling fan of the mind to slow down so that you are being redirected down to the pelvis, to a place of grounding. Now let's do one more time. Exhale to center, arms forward. This is called Malasana. You can put the blocks aside and now walk yourself forward until your knees come to the floor. Come into table pose. And then stretch the right toes straight back like plank pose. And notice the energy that goes from your right low belly down to your right leg. Step the left toes back and come into plank pose. And notice what you're releasing from the pelvis towards your feet. Some of that you're going to feel as circulation. Now raise the hips high and let's come into downward facing dog pose. And in this downward dog pose, allow the hips to sway side to side. So you can keep the feet parallel like you're in cross-country skis or something where you don't want to turn the heels out or the toes out. And just let the hips sway side to side. So you're going over your ankle joints. And the bones of the legs have to also accommodate. And as you sway side to side, listen for the freedom you can experience in the lower belly or the pelvis, and how your body is welcoming the breath. And we're having a chance to resume or reinvigorate our relationship with Apana, the downward flow from the pelvis back to the earth. Please walk your hands one hand at a time, slowly backwards with straight arms. Walk back into Uttanasana. If your blankets are still behind you, you can put them aside. If your kitten is on one of your blankets, you don't have to put that aside. Okay, and from Uttanasana, please place your hands on your hips and rise up really slowly to standing. This will be the first time that you're upright, completely upright in your practice. So come up slowly and try to sense like you're pouring yourself down into your legs. Pour yourself down into the earth. She's so happy to have you come back home. That's a little series that initiates our return to Apanavayu. Now I'd like you to have 2 blocks. If you have 4, you might enjoy using 4, but it's not necessary for right now. I just want to pull my mat forward so I don't disturb the kitten. See if I can get it. I don't know if she's on the mat and the blanket. There we go. You know, she works hard during the day. She doesn't need to be disturbed right now. Okay, so 2 blocks and take a wide stance, please. Come into Prasarita Padottanasana. Your blocks are going to be mobile. They're going to go with you to your right and with you to your left. So when you come into this position, let's put the feet so that they are 1 leg length apart. Walk your hands forward on your blocks. Reach your hips back. And bend your knees so your hips are going to go back towards the wall behind you. Don't bend the knees so that they come forward. Bend your knees to take your hips back. And see if the belly can really welcome the breath now, since nobody's looking at you. No need to be timid about the shape of the belly. I sometimes like to say, let it utterly hang out. Let the belly be that relaxed. Now with both heels grounded on your inhale, press firmly down from your hips to your heels. Slowly straighten your legs. And then turn your left heel slightly out, turn your right foot completely out, and walk your hands to bookend your right leg. Breathe in and lengthen your torso forward. And when you exhale, bend your right knee deeply, keeping the left heel very grounded. So now you have some pressure with your right torso on your right thigh. You are closing the right hemisphere of the belly. You're actually giving a massage to the ascending colon. Allow your torso to touch but not collapse onto your right thigh, please. Curl your head in and look back towards the left foot. And now firmly press into your right heel and slowly straighten your right leg. Keep looking back at the left foot. And then walk your blocks back and turn to Prasarita Padottanasana. Take a deep breath in. Let's bend both knees. Keep the knees as wide as the toes. Take your hips back, not your knees forward. Press down into the firmness of your feet. Energize your legs. Turn your right heel slightly out. Turn your left foot completely out. And bookend your left foot with your blocks. Press into your right heel. Let's keep the back leg as grounded as possible as you bend your left knee. So now you're putting compression from the left thigh and the left belly against each other. And that is your descending colon. Gaze back towards your right foot. And try to keep the mind down in the hips and the pelvis and the lower belly. And then press firmly into your left foot. Energize your left leg muscles. Send your roots down into the earth. And then walk your blocks back. Prasarita Padottanasana. And let's go heel, toe, heel, toe in to Uttanasana. Please shift your hands to your hips. And one more time, as you rise up, go slowly. Picture that you're pouring yourself down into your legs. And see if your mind can sort of occupy the lower hemisphere of your body, like from the pelvis down to your feet. And we're going to start moving a little bit more into Samanavayu. So if you'll take a wide stance, you don't need your blocks for this one, but just take a wide stance, again, about the length of one leg. And let me get my lefts and rights sorted through. This is your right side, my left side. Raise your left arm and side bend to your right. So you're going to squeeze the ascending colon. The right arm can be relaxed or it can be purposeful. You can place it at the top of your thigh there if you want to. When you are side bending with the torso, try not to move your hips to the left. So keep the pelvis centered. You're going to feel some need for support across the low abdomen. Exhale, rise up, use the left low belly. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend to your left. The left arm can dangle. Some of you will find that you don't side bend that far in this position. It's because of the feet are pointing forward, the thighs are pointing forward, the pelvis is forward, and you may be stopping at a bony end range in the pelvis. So don't be too concerned about it. You'll see a change in just a moment here. Okay, let's exhale, rise up, root into your right low belly. Inhale, side bend to your right. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, side bend to your left. Exhale, rise. Notice the belly supporting that action. Inhale, side bend right. Exhale, rise. Again, inhale, left. Exhale, rise. Once more to each side. Inhale, right. Exhale, rise. And inhale, left. Exhale, rise. Float your arms out to the side, please, and turn the left heel out slightly and the right foot out completely. Stabilize your legs, please. So earlier this week in our summer immersion, we were doing Parsvakonasana with the arms in this kind of yin-yang position, which means you don't have support from your bottom arm. We're not going to put a block there right now. So we're going to rely on stability and energy in the legs and the pelvis. So inhale, sweep your arms wide. And then rotate the tailbone down and your pelvis to your right. Sweep your right arm behind the small of your back and the left arm past your ear. You can cross the right forearm to the small of your back at the top of the sacrum. And let that be a reminder to draw the back waist more broad. Now keeping the leg steady and your arm near to your ear. Let's exhale, rise up. Inhale, go over. Exhale, rise up. Notice the left low belly, left outer heel. Inhale, side bend to your right. Let it be curvy. Exhale, rise up. One more time, inhale. And last one, exhale, rise up. Release your right arm, release your left arm, make the feet parallel. And then turn the right heel slightly out, left foot directly to the left. So sometimes with Samanavaya, you're going to experience this contracting on purpose here. It may also be generating some heat, the release of heat. Don't worry too much. We won't keep you ever heating up. But there is a need to digest, and we need heat to digest the food there. Okay. Inhale, arms wide. And let me see if can I center my kitten? I don't know. Oh, I guess she's pretty centered. Okay. Inhale, and then let's exhale. Side bend to your left. So just get accustomed to it for the first few moments, right? Take the left arm around and try to sense the broadness at the back of the waist. Curve the torso. So the left side waist is shorter. Right side is bigger, more broad. And then exhale, root down, rise up. Just a short visit. Inhale, curve over. Exhale, rise. Inhale, arc over. Exhale. Inhale, keep the right butt toned so your right hip is not sort of sashaying about like you're doing the hula. And here's the last one. Exhale, rise up. Release your arms, make the feet parallel, and let's go heel toe in the center. And let the arms relax. So Samana Vayu is a contracting Vayu. The muscles of the digestive system are not like the muscles of the musculoskeletal system. We have different muscle fibers for that. But still, our very sensitive gut is sending messages up to the brain all the time. So you could sense the message you're getting at this moment. Now I'd like you to take a blanket to the floor, and this is going to be for your knees. I would like to address the hip flexors a little bit, and insofar as your psoas is also there in the inner belly and the abdomen, and insofar as the psoas is also a communication system. Put the blocks forward. Please step your right foot forward and your left knee down to the blanket. I'm trying to be forward enough that I'm not putting my foot on the sleeping kitten. Okay, so the top of the left knee can be on the blanket with your shin, or if you have a knee replacement, put the blanket under the shin and take the kneecap just slightly off the blanket where it's not going to have pressure on it. Okay, place your fingertips, please. Allow the hips to come forward. Good. So you can feel into the left low belly, left thigh, left hip flexors. And I'm going to ask you to press into your fingertips and make the pose firm so you're not hammocking your pelvis forward onto your kitten. Hi. Oh yeah, good timing. Let's have the belly relax like this. That relax. Oh, you guys can't see him. He's on my right foot. Okay, now take your right hand to your right knee and begin swishing your belly to the right. Once the low belly has swished and you feel like the belly button is moving, then pick up the left arm. If you have a hip replacement, don't push the left elbow against the right knee where your knee crosses the midline. You can have the arm over and you can press your knee back against your arm for stability. Turn the belly to the right. Turn your heart to the right. If you like, you can turn your gaze to the right. So you're squeezing right now the ascending colon, but at the same time lengthening the left psoas. Now root down into your right foot. Position your left fingertips back to your block, right fingertips, and ease your hips backwards. You can swing the right knee back without hitting anybody in the head. Hi. And bring the left foot forward. Okay, ease the hips forward. So that's going to be your right psoas and your right hip flexors. Okay, I can feel the kitten breathing on my toes back there. Okay, so as you come forward, let the right low belly stay a little bit toned. So there can be some ease to the pelvis, but we're not just hammocking down towards the floor. Press into your fingertips. Welcome back. Hi. My, what beautiful posture you have. Bye. Okay, so now take the left hand on your left thigh. Press down, swish your belly button across. Let's have a connection here with the descending colon. And as you swish across, you may choose to hook your right arm over your left knee. Turn your belly to the left. Turn your heart to the left. You may turn your gaze to the left. So squeezing the descending colon on the left side, but also elongating the right psoas. And then rotate around to face forward. Now take the 2 blocks firmly on your yoga mat for where you want them to be, to step backwards into plank pose without stepping on the heads of your kittens that are both sharing the same blanket behind you now. So I'll do a wide-footed plank pose. You guys can do regular plank pose. And when you step to plank pose, notice the energy that's moving downstream from Samanavayu at the stomach, down the abdomen, through the psoas muscles, through the inseams of the legs, to your heels. And then raise that high into downward facing dog pose. And inhale, come forward. Touch your knees down. Sit back for a moment into Vajrasana. Rest your hands in your lap. Now notice really distinctly the quality of your mind. So these 2 vayus, samana is contracting, and it sends its energy down to apana. Apana takes it out, apana vayu. What we need to absorb from our digestion, from the food sources, that gets picked up in the circulation. And the circulation vayu is called vyana. Notice the quality of your mind just now, because we're going to have a change of direction, and I want you to sense how your mind is influenced by these things. Let me see what I can do about my kitten situation here. We're going to lie on the stomach in just a moment. Let's see. That seems okay. I don't have to be that far back. I don't know if you guys can see her because she's nearly the same color as the blankets. There you are. Hi. Okay, we can share the space. Okay, please lie on your stomach. I might go off camera for you, but you're going to be looking down anyway. So lie on your stomach, make your hands into a pillow for your forehead. Move what might be in the way for your arms to go out to the side in a moment. So press down with the tops of both feet and your tailbone. Root down so your lumbar spine is long. And keeping the legs grounded, as you inhale, press your palms down and lift your chest, shoulders, heart, and head. And then exhale and flow back down. With the 2 palms stacked like this, inhale, raise your chest and your heart. You won't go that high. The elbows are still on the floor. Exhale and lower down. Inhale, raise up, this time staying up for the exhale. Keep the legs grounded and inhale, sweep your arms wide. And exhale, lower back down, Makrasana. Inhale, rise up, press into your forearms and your palms. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms wide. Exhale, lower down, Makrasana. Again, inhale, raise your chest and your heart, your head. Keep the legs grounded as you stay through for the exhale. Inhale the arms wide. And exhale, lower back down. One more time, please. So inhale to go up with your chest and your heart, your head. Stay grounded as you exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide. And exhale, lower down. This time to stay. Turn your head to the right. When you turn your head to the right, just notice your body kind of resting a bit and recalibrating. And then keeping your head turned to the right, Step your left arm straight out to the side. Place your right hand under your right shoulder. Raise your right leg and step backwards over your left leg. Roll the left shoulder back down away from your left ear. So this should feel like your left hand is grounded, the left forearm is grounded, but that the left shoulder is rolling away from your ear and away from the floor. A couple of options with the legs. You can just step the right leg back and reach through your heel. You could also sweep the left leg forward on the floor. And when you next exhale, roll back to center and just take a few moments to notice how the circulation is going down your left arm, how that gets resumed. And then take your right arm out to the side, turn your head to your left, place your left hand under your left shoulder. Roll your right shoulder away from the floor as you step the left leg back behind you. And again, I'd like you to have your right shoulder not pushing into the floor. It should not feel like it's painfully making a divot in the floor. You can have the left leg just go simply straight back. You could also take the right leg forward. And then exhale, roll that back to center and notice the circulation going down your right arm. And then place your hands beneath your shoulders, press up to table pose. And now when you come back to Vajrasana, notice that the quality of the mind is likely changing. And I want you to catch this really subtle glimpse, if you can, that there's a different pattern of energy in the head, in the heart, in your mind. Now you need 2 blocks at a minimum, but you might enjoy having 4 blocks. And I would recommend you take out your hair tie or any hair clips. I don't want your head to feel painful, and I don't want you to break a hair clip doing yoga. I'll put this aside. I'll show with 2 blocks. I'll also show with 4 blocks. So if we just have 2 blocks, you're going to lie on your back. Let's see what I can do here. Hi, honey. Yeah, it's okay. All good. So you're going to lie on your back, and we take the 2 blocks to go under the back of the pelvis. So what you do here is the 2 blocks are going to be stacked like this on the flat setting. So you'll lift your hips up, place the blocks. This is called supported bridge pose, like this. If you have 4 blocks, and if you're dexterous, which I'll try to be, you can put 2 blocks, one under each foot, so your feet are higher. And then this block underneath the pelvis, if you want to, can go higher. And the benefit for this, don't worry too much if you only have 2 blocks because you're going to have benefit. The benefit to going higher is that you have a little bit of an inversion. And for those of us who know about inversions and practice them regularly, it has a beautiful impact on the mind. But either way, you're going to have a little inversion, so don't worry if you have only 2 blocks. But for everyone, squeeze the shoulders down towards the floor, whatever you're set up with your blocks. Lengthen your tailbone towards your knees, and bring your chin towards your throat. Now, as you squeeze the shoulders back and down towards the floor, you actually are squeezing the shoulder blades in towards the back of the heart also. Let your breathing become more calm and steady. And then pressing down into your feet, whichever pose you're doing, lift your hips and put only the top block aside and come down to rest on the one block. Lift the knees and let them curl in towards your chest. I want you to be on the block at a place where it's comfortable for your knees to come in towards your chest and your heart. Some of you might notice that when the knees come to the chest here, following bridge pose, you have this current of energy now moving from the pelvis upwards towards the face and the head. So we just changed the direction of prana in the body. We changed it when we went down to the belly to do that work that was for Vyana Vayu. Bridge pose supported Vyana Vayu and Udana Vayu. We're going to repeat that bridge pose, so when you feel ready to, tone the low belly, shift your feet back to the blocks or to the floor. Root down into your heels, tuck your shoulders under, and rise up to your position. Making a good construction zone of the two blocks, please. Press your shoulders firmly down and your heart enthusiastically up, while the chin comes down towards your throat. This pose is redirecting your circulation right now, and it's sort of organizing parts of your vayus. It's also influencing your endocrine system, so particularly the thyroid, but also the thymus, pituitary, and pineal. And then root down into your feet, raise your hips, slide the block out one more time, come down to the single block. Make it comfortable for the bones of your sacrum and your spine, and let the knees come in. And then touch your feet to the floor, even if you had two blocks before. Raise your hips and put the remaining block from the pelvis down on the floor. And come down to rest a moment with the knees bent, and just keep your feet flat on the floor for now. And notice now, what is the quality of the mind? And please take your arms out into a T shape. Bring both knees up. And then both knees down to your right. And you can take the right hand to hold the inside and the back of the left shin. So you're going to encourage the left thigh to be matching the right thigh. Twist your upper body, especially your upper thoracic spine, and your head to your left. So this kind of pose also supports the upper values, but in addition, it is supporting the lower values. It is a digestive pose, which you can feel the openness for the chest and the heart, for your left arm. We need not have the mind get busied, even though energy may be rising towards your head. Keep some awareness of the pelvis of the lower belly too. And with an exhale, let's float back up to center. And then bring your knees down to the left side without landing on your kitten. And take the left hand to the inside and the back side of the right shin. And twist your upper body, your heart, your head, and your eyes to the right. Notice what's happening in the subtle body, that you can kind of sense it by the quality of your mind, what is happening with the mind. This is not a time to entertain your narrative about yourself or any sort of unhelpful judgments about yourself. Just know that you are addressing these really vital functions of prana in the body. All of the vayus, the word vayu means wind, they're all forms of prana that we need, that nourish our health. So let's exhale, roll up to center. Touch your feet down. And please come to Shavasana. I'm saving time in class here for our Shavasana to be now, and then we get to have some pranayama and meditation together. So this Shavasana is very important for what comes next in your practice. So this is a time to let yourself rest really deeply. Inviting your mind to rest means the absence of narrating yourself to yourself about yourself, the absence of daydreaming, neither wanting nor not wanting, really simply resting. Allow everything to fade. The mind can take refuge, can deeply rest. Your body is becoming re-nourished right now. When your body has a certain cadence, the rhythm comes back to what we think of as homeostasis. And there are multiple rhythms in our bodies. One of those is the rhythm of the vayus. One of those is the rhythm of the heart. One is the rhythm of the breath. And right now, you don't have to be chaperoning any of those rhythms. They are occurring just like the rhythm of digestion. And the rhythm of nature outside of you is doing its nature rhythm thing. The rhythm of nature within you is doing its nature rhythm thing within you. So let yourself rest 1 more minute, aware of that process, so aware of that process. It is happening. You might become aware the heaviness of the body and being still. And then gently wiggle your toes, your fingers. Bend one knee at a time. And roll to your side. Use both hands to come up to your seat. And I would like you to take a seat, if you can, like your meditation seat that you could enjoy for about 15 minutes. I want to do a tiny bit of pranayama with you and then settle in for meditation. Don't want to disturb you, you're sleeping. So when you come to your seat now, see if you can picture the vayus kind of stacking in the body. So apana is down low, responsible for elimination. Samana is at the stomach, right at the third chakra, the solar plexus. Vyanavayu is here in the chest and the heart. Udana is in the throat. Pranavayu in the head and encompassing. Lift the base of your skull and just gently bring your head into Jalandhara Bandha. And bring your right hand up to close the right nostril. We're going to practice Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. So begin with your inhale on the left side. You'll switch the nostrils after the inhalation. I think all of you know this practice, so I won't give a lot of instruction right now. Let's go to the practice directly. You may complete with your next exhale through the left nostril. When you come to sit quietly, see if you can sincerely welcome the information that your body will offer to you about the state of your mind and these values, but also listen for that which is deeper than, more abiding than the fluctuations of the mind or the body. Invite yourself to be very still, even as you notice there's fluctuations in the body or the mind. Stay connected to that which is more deep, more abiding, which can see those fluctuations moving through. Keeping the mind and the body still for a few moments more. Listen for that which is seeing and sensing through you.